NBA elections. Perhaps to start, we'll take the NBA prayer. I'll ask Alex Odiete to please do us the honors of that, the NBA prayer. Do we have it up there?
Good afternoon, everybody. Almighty God, our Creator, we pray to you to be with us in all our deliberations and to direct our endeavors so that we shall continue in all humility to glorify thy name and do that which is right and just for our profession, its members, our fellow men, and our country. Amen.
So I'd like to once again appreciate everyone for making time to be at this meeting. It's ordinarily not supposed to be a long one, but we're here to answer all your questions as may arise. Let me first express our appreciation to all our candidates for the 2024 NBA elections, for your candor thus far, for your collaborative approach to issues as they arise, and also for maintaining decorum with respect to your campaigns across. We have, to the extent as humanly possible, observed various campaigns, and the important thing is candidates have kept it based on the issues and their programs and their projects that they are proposing. And that is commendable, which was also demonstrated here yesterday at the manifesto day and debate. Going forward, we want to re-emphasize our common objective for this election. The elections, as any elections will do, will produce a winner, and we also expect that that common objective of having a transparent, fair, free elections is what we're all working at. And so that has informed the level of information we keep making available to you in terms of various processes, steps that we're taking in the course of our engagements. So far, we have issued about 11 or 12 notices, inclusive of 2 guidelines governing this election. And today, after our parley, we will issue a 3rd guideline, which will be directed specifically more towards the voting process, voters, and of course, candidates. But before we finalize, the document actually ready, but before it's issued, we would like to discuss some of those background information with you so that it will be clear why some steps are being taken and the decisions are being made. As you might have been aware, upon the close of the verification, or let me start by saying when we put out the voters database voting register, we put it out, I think, on the 28th of May for people to check, and those that had corrections to make, particularly with respect to their phone numbers and email addresses, were asked to indicate by submitting on a Google form that was also on that platform. The form was to populate those information that needed correction. And upon conclusion of that, we'd gone back to clean up, filter, and walk through all the submissions, which we presented at the National Election, at the National Executive Council meeting of the NBA, which held, I think it was on the 20th of June that it held. And we presented all that, which was ratified by NEC. Well, for the benefit of those who might have missed that, I will just browse through the findings that we presented to NEC. We had earlier announced that the total eligible number of voters is 72,071. Of that number, post-verification, 9,123 submitted entries for correction. Of the 9,123, 1,436 were found, of those submissions, were found to be double or multiple entry, multiple submissions. People submitted 2-3 times the same form. So when we deleted those, we had 7,687 entries received. Now of that, we found 932 being entries by persons who did not appear on the database at all. Maybe they went to check on the database, they didn't find their name, so they filled the form and submitted that they couldn't find their name. And that will tell you that their names did not appear because they did not pay their bar practicing fees as at when due. Because if they paid between 1st January and 31st March, their names would appear. And for many of them who even called or sent emails, we have since resolved that with them. And that was sorted. And so we had 6,755 left. Initially, out of this number, we had a total of 2,042 were initially found to be from persons who had submitted entries but did not need to have submitted anything at all because what they submitted did not require any change in their data. It's just, I guess, they just saw the form was there, they filled it, submitted exactly the same thing that was already. In fact, when we looked further, we found further filtration and cleanup showed that it was not just 2,042, but 5,574 actually submitted forms that did not require us to change their data. Some filled it erroneously because they didn't read the instructions. Some who submitted incomplete forms. So their forms probably didn't even have an email address. So what are we supposed to compare the old and the new with? Or did not have phone number, or did not have SCN number. So to that extent, we could do nothing with those forms. So by the time we took that, and then some submitted forms that they wanted us to change their name. Maybe they are now married. But that is beyond our scope. That can only be done at the Supreme Court when you submit a deed poll. That's the procedure for name changing. So we removed all those ones too. And we only had 1,181 entries left for correction. Now we subclassified this and we had 737 persons who requested to change just their phone numbers. Their email was okay according to them, only phone numbers. 352 persons requested to change just their email address. Their own phone numbers were okay. They only wanted to change email address. And 92 persons requested to change both phone number and email address. Now, we consider that the more critical group, because a person who just wants to change phone number but still has correct email means that he still has a platform through which he will receive his voter or her voter credentials anyway. And those who also wanted to change email but correct phone number also still had an SMS platform too. But those who say both phone and email are wrong means that if they are wrong, they may not have any access to receiving their voter credentials. And so, after further filtration, we reviewed this entire group, and this was the outcome. We found as follows that some proposed new emails submitted to be changed in the entry are totally unrelated to the existing mails. So it's like my mail is oluseunabimbola@gmail.com, but I've submitted an entry that wants to change to prettylola@yahoo.com. Now, it becomes difficult to relate. It's not related to my name. So we can't change that except we're able to reach you. Some of them were unable to reach. Some we reached and they doubted whether we were authentic. They queried whether, are you sure you are Ecnba, are you this? And after a while, I can't convince you beyond your conviction. So those who were unable to validate, we left their data as is. We didn't change anything in terms of whatever they proposed. Some entries were trying to change their country code to their phone numbers to that of another country. Maybe they are jackpot or something. But unfortunately, they will change it. It's like changing my phone number and it's like leaving my phone number and adding a UK code. You still can't get me, or adding a US code. And then, so in respect of these two categories of changing number or changing email, except for the ones we're able to validate and authenticate haven't reached the individual, our default mode was to leave the entry as is. So if we're unable to validate or reach the individual, we left their data as we met it. At least they will still be able to receive their authentication codes for voting through one or either of the platform. If the wrong one is the phone, they will receive by email. If the wrong one is their email, they will receive by SMS. So we left theirs. For the last group of 92 who had error with both number and phone, we had to use two different filtration processes for that, inclusive of phoning and checking other registers to authenticate. In the end, of these three categories making up that 1,183 that I said, a total of 113 submissions on correction of phone numbers based on either observed typos or country code errors were corrected and synced with the database. 12 for email errors were corrected, and 36 verified entries amongst those who wanted both phone and email amended were corrected. So in grand total, only 161 entries on the database were corrected after this entire verification exercise. The rest were left as is for the reasons aforesaid. Now, the last set of information we found were for those with duplication and strange-looking SCNs. And what do we mean by that? We found 20 entries on the database who had duplicated SCNs, two people using the same SCN. And even when we checked it ourselves, you put in that SCN on the database, the names of the two people will show up on our portal. So how can two people have the same SCN on the database? Two things we found responsible. Some was the human error of the member who had probably forgotten or mistakenly entered a data that was wrong at the time of his paying his or her bar practicing fee. Or the error might have originated at the time of enrollment at the Supreme Court, and they've been carrying it to every other portal like that. And so what we have done was to, of these 20 duplicated SCNs, 12 persons were successfully resolved as arising from members' error of entry or mistaken assumption of other people's SCN. Some, if their SCN is 112113, they would have entered 113112, forgetting that somebody else already has 113112. So, but that's what we found. So we've been able to, we speak to both persons so that we can clarify that we spoke to both persons and were able to resolve that. 8 others, the remaining 8 of the duplicated SCNs, we had to escalate those to the Supreme Court because it needed the intervention of the Supreme Court Enrollment Office for them to be able to resolve that issue. Now, we also had 12 entries that we found with strange-looking SCNs. What do I mean by strange-looking SCNs? Usually your SCN number is SCN 123456. But then we found these lots, about 12 of them, who had their SCNs reflected as EXM 123456. EXM, this is that, EXM. I don't know of anybody whose SCN starts with EXM. And so we had to escalate that also to the Supreme Court Enrollment Office. And it was only this week we were able to resolve one, the remaining 8 of the duplicated ones. We just got this from the Supreme Court on the 9th of July. So we'll take a decision as to what to do with their own. We found out that for many of them, the Supreme Court Enrollment Office admitted the error at the time of their enrollment. So if they already have similar numbers, they can't just go and create a number of 2024 for somebody that was called in 1986. So they retained the number and add an alphabet. And for those who already had alphabets added, they add a second alphabet to distinguish one from the other. So that's for the 8 other duplications. So we just got that cleared this week. But for the 12 EXM enrollment numbers, the investigation from the enrollment office suggests that they belong to freshly called students from the Nigerian law school, fresh graduates of the Nigerian law school, and that apparently not all of them have received their qualifying certificates from the Nigerian law school. And without their qualifying certificates, they could not enroll at the Supreme Court. So they don't actually have a Supreme Court enrollment number because they are yet to obtain their qualifying certificates from the law school. And so when it was time to pay bar practicing fees in 2024, they had that issue, and I think they were asked to pay using their examination number. Hence the EXM blah, blah, blah that we started seeing. So it was more like an examination number, not an enrollment number. We're still expecting a final word from the Supreme Court on that. And we would like to also take a decision on that today as to what to do with these ones, because their name appears on the voter list by virtue of having paid their bar practicing fee, but there is doubt as to whether they have been enrolled effectively as lawyers. And so we'll need to take a decision whether to allow or disallow. The other set of information we have discovered, and this came out of the test messages that were sent out for us to test whether you could receive the data entries from on your phone or your email, as follows. We found out that some phone numbers are duplicated. In fact, we found that there are non-unique numbers or duplicated phone numbers amounting to 1,017 entries. So which means more than one person has that number on the database. It's not that it was done for any ulterior motive, because from our investigation, we found out that some had those problems because they didn't pay their bar practicing fees themselves. In some, we even found from some very big law firms whose juniors might have been the one they would have paid for the firm. So it's probably one junior that was designated to do the entry, and that one just use his or her number for everybody just to be able to put it through. So you end up having 20 people, 30 people with the same number. Now that became a challenge, because as it is now, if they receive their voting credentials, it will go to that number. And that number can end up voting for the 30 of them. Some, it was their branch officer, they designated a secretary of the branch, an officer of the branch, and they were all sending their money to that officer, who would also use his or her number at the time of paying the bar practice fee. So we found a total of 1,017. We also found, as a result of the bulk messaging, there are some numbers that looked invalid. GSM numbers is 11 digits. If you find a 9-digit, then you know that there's something wrong with this number, but you can't add 2 for him because you don't know their number. And since the verification, they didn't show up or they didn't validate their submissions, we had to leave it as it is. That is a number amounting to 477. So 477 have invalid looking numbers. We have invalid looking emails. Some emails that they put Olushabimbola at, and that's the end. At where? We have only 2 of those. And then duplicated emails. The same reasons, duplicated emails, we have 2. So the total that we have flagged them on the system now, is 1,474, comprising duplicated phone numbers, invalid phone numbers, duplicated emails, and all of that. This is our proposal, which we are putting to you. We intend to blacklist those duplications, which means if there's anybody who has a duplicated number, we will blacklist those numbers. Those numbers will not receive voting credentials. However, if their email remains unique, they will receive it by email, because the email is unique. They are all separate, they are not duplicated. It's only the number that is duplicated. So we'll blacklist the number, retain their emails, so that they can still vote through their emails, reception of their voting credentials. For those who have duplicated emails, we blacklist the email, we leave their phone number for those that have unique numbers. That will be our proposal to you as we go on. Then the SCN ones, we'll come back to discuss what to do and validate all that too. Now, we had embarked on voter sensitization over the last 2 weeks. The last of them will come up tomorrow, and that's the one that will hold in Ibadan for Oyo State, Osun State, and Ekiti State branches. So that's the last one to be held. Others, Enugu, Calabar, Benin, Lagos, Abuja, Yola, Kano, Port Harcourt, we have held them hybrid because to assemble branches in those regions in one location was always a problem, so it was held hybrid. The materials used for the presentations and training will also be circulated so that members have them handy as a guide towards election day, including the animation video which we were playing here yesterday. Now, let me also quickly run through the developments by reason of the test messages that were sent. As earlier indicated, the total number of voters, eligible voters, is 72,071. But when we sent out test SMSs and emails to all these 72,071, because those are the records we have uploaded, these are the outcomes. Of the 72,071, we have, let me just give you this, I'll give you a breakdown and then give you the summarized entry. The breakdown, 72,071 uploaded, records accepted 71,365, records rejected 706. Records with valid looking emails, 71,365. Emails dispatched, 71,365. Delivered emails to domain, 71,128. Records of those who opened their email. It delivered, they opened it, and their filtration of their provider, of their email provider, allowed us to track when you opened it. Of those, 24,935. So at least we are sure 24,935 opened those emails and can vote. Bounced emails, 125. Records with phone numbers, 70,935. Records with flagged or invalid numbers, 430. Records with Nigerian numbers, 70,744. SMSs dispatched, 70,935. SMSs delivered, 64,984. Blocked SMS or bounced SMS or DND inhibited SMS, 4,209. SMSs with pending delivery status, 1,742. If they are still pending by now, we take it as undeliverable. Records, and this is now the summary. Records reachable by both email and SMS at the same time, which means these ones, they could be reached by SMS and by email, 71,344. Records reachable, no, sorry, scratch that. Records reachable either by email or SMS. Either by email or SMS, 71,344. Records reachable by both email and SMS at the same time, 64,768. Records reachable by email only, 6,360. Records reachable by SMS only, 216. Records completely unreachable, 21. The summary of all of this is that the records that are reachable either by email or SMS of 71,344 represents what we can regard as the people who should receive their voting credentials based on all these tests and experiences and filtrations. The others already are, except they remove DND for those who have DND and it's still bouncing their SMS, and those who have different filters in their emails and all of that too, except those ones deal with it. But at least as we go forward, we know that 71,344 people should receive the voting credentials, without challenges. Yesterday, we carried out the mock voting, which was based on random select of voters, as well as we actually ensured that all the candidates were part of that selection. So you should have received your own voting credentials. We only used for that pilot 2,000 voters. Pick 2,000 out of the 72,000 database. Now, the voting was supposed to start by 10, end at 4. We had to extend voting till 10 p.m. because of the low level of participation. At the end of it, regrettably, at the end of the exercise, only 244 persons out of the 2,000 voted. Only 244, which represents about 12% of the 2,000. I don't know whether it was because of their busy schedule. I don't know whether they were the people, but it was random across branches. So it might have been random selection of people who don't even know what is MBA, but they are lawyers. And they pay so they won't even pay attention to whatever it is. I can't speak to any of that, but that is the outcome of the effort. Yes, please.
To look at it, because if we had not been here, we'll have just taken it as a fake something, because these days there are some people, they will call you for meetings that you should participate in an hybrid meeting or online meeting, and you discover that they are fake. They will just hack your phone number. So I think I'm suspecting that this is what affected the response. Thank you.
Okay, well, that may be so, but you would have received a notification the day previous, because we sent a note to the 2,000. We sent a notification the day previous that expect this for the mock election. So if you received and read that notification a day previous, it's to alert you that this is coming. So maybe you didn't read the notification. Of course, I can understand if you see a record like that and you're doubtful of it. But that's why we've taken the time to create text message, even for the main voting. That's why we send the text message, so that they won't adopting the same thinking now, come on the day of election and think somebody wants to hack their phone again. So other than our attempts at dealing with our trust deficit of processes, which leads to this sort of thinking. I don't see any other way we can compel people to vote beyond all the noise we have made about election day and voting and the manner of voting. But you can also, in the course of your engagement, educate even more, so that we can have meaningful participation. Yes. You need to use the microphone because of those online. Your name.
Good morning, sir. My name is Ibiere Emanuela Ekpese. I was going to say that I'd seen the message before I got here, but because it's election period, a lot of persons are bombarded with SMSs, and so they are probably not interested. So I was going to suggest, apart from candidates' sensitization for their voters or supporters, I was going to suggest that why don't we do like when it came, it was showing numbers 3441. Why don't we have like Ecnba, something official to show that, oh, this is actually from Ecnba, not the regular candidates bothering my life again, you know. So I thought I should just say that. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. We observed that, and I think it's a network issue because of the various filtrations that different networks have. For me, the messages I received had a heading service info. So yours, you say it just shows 3441. So I really don't know how networks modify the manner in which it is delivered, being a bulk SMS stuff. But it is noted. We will try and see how that works. But we can't talk to networks. They have their own structure. They won't reconfigure because of us, you know. But the important thing is read the message. That's the most important thing. Let them read the message. They shouldn't just look at whatever shows up. Read the message, and if it's somebody trying to sell you a lemon, then you disregard it. But if it's something that speaks to what you are already aware is coming on the day that had been announced it's going to happen, then we expect responses. And so these thought guidelines we are issuing will also contain guides, some of which are already out there in the sensitization video and slides to help members vote. The most important part of it is that when you receive the voting credential, do not share it or forward to anybody. It's your own and unique to you. So that once you share it, it's already prejudiced because that means somebody else can use it. And of course, once you have voted, nobody else can use it. So, secondly, it takes you to a landing page. Once you click the browser for that voting link, it takes you to a landing page that requires you to enter your SCN number. Your SCN number is the SCN. SCN must be part of it, and the number without spacing. Without spacing. Some of people that have sent us emails when they checked on the voter list and they couldn't find their name and say, my name is not there, blah, blah, blah. They will phone, we'll ask them, give us your. I was actually at a station, a broadcast station, and the interviewer, a lawyer, while I was saying you can do this, you can even check now, he pulled up the website and typed in, unknown to me, he pulled it up, typed in his SCN and checked. And he carried on with the interview. When we finished the interview, he said, well, sir, I just didn't want to mention it in the interview, but I didn't find my name. I saw the website, I saw the whole thing, but I couldn't find my name. I said, what's your name? He gave, what's your SCN? He gave me. I checked on my phone, boom, there it was. I said, so what did you do? He said he doesn't know. I said, yeah, type it again. What he did was SCN space 12345. That's why you didn't find your name. And some, you do SCN 12345 space. You have made space part of your entry. That's why you won't find it. So they need to be. We all need to be careful as we enter it. Just the digits and the SCN in front is enough. Okay. We have invited one of the representatives of the voter platform to be here so that they can also present to you what the portal will look like as well. Perhaps before I carry on, I will invite Fina to kindly show us what the voting platform will look like.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Or is it?
Hello, everyone. Before we begin the live demonstration of the election process, I would like to show you a brief animated overview. Please, let's go to go.ecnba.org to watch the animation. This will give us a clear and simple understanding of how everything works. Once we have watched it, we will now move to the live demo. So let's take a few minutes to watch the animation. Thank you.
Election for the year 2024 is around the corner. In order to vote during this election, your name must be on the final voter register published by the Ecnba. Details for voting will be sent to the email and phone number attached to your profile on the Ecnba final voters register. To vote, all you need is a web browser on your phone, tablet, or computer. We are using an online voting platform, and this is where you will cast your vote. The election opens at 12 a.m. on election day. A private and personalized voting link will be sent to the email and phone number attached to your profile as an eligible voter. Do not share this link. Click the link and enter your Supreme Court number, and you will be taken immediately to the ballot selection screen to see the list of positions along with those contesting for them. Proceed to select your preferred candidate in each position. Please ensure you make a choice for each position. After completing the selection process, click on Continue to proceed to the verification page. On the verification page, the ballot will be shown back to you with the selections you made. Review it carefully and then click Submit Ballot to finalize your selection, or you may choose to go back to make corrections. Once the ballot is submitted, it can no longer be changed, so check that your choices are accurately reflected on the verification screen before submitting. You have now voted. You will see a thank you confirmation screen acknowledging that your vote has been registered for that ballot. An email confirmation that you have placed your vote will also be sent. Then sit tight and wait for the announcement of the results, or visit go.ecnba.org for the latest information on the elections and results. For assistance, please contact support@evm.ng or call our contact center on 070-8067-2006. This message was brought to you by the Electoral Committee of the Nigerian Bar Association.
Thank you, everyone. So this page, this go.ecnba.org also contains the FAQs and guide on the process. So moving forward, for the demo, we utilize a fictitious name and picture. So once the demo is concluded, we will preview the actual ballot and how it looks like. So, first of all, for me to take part in the election, my name must have been on the final voters list published by the Ecnba. So, at the time of the election, when the elections open, a private and personalized link will be sent to my email and phone number attached to my profile from the list. So I've gotten an email. The next step is to click on the personalized link that was shared. This will take us to a page where we need to insert our SCN, that's Supreme Court number. Please remember that the link should not be shared. So I've entered my SCN number, my SCN, clicked. It will then take us to the ballot page. So here it contains the list of candidates and their pictures, names and pictures included. So I'll go ahead and make my choice. Go down to the vice president, first vice president, second vice president. I can choose to abstain. I can choose to abstain if I don't want to vote for anyone. General secretary, assistant general secretary. I can choose to abstain, as I said earlier. Assistant publicity secretary, abstain. So here we have, please, let's be mindful of and read the instructions on each ballot paper. For here we have select all choice as candidates, as all candidates are unopposed. So we need to select all, or we abstain. Sorry. Let me select all. Same for this, that's the NBA representative to the General Council of Bar Western Zone. I'll abstain. So after this, we click continue. So it will take us to this page where we can see all our choices. You have the privilege of going back to edit if you made a mistake or you think that you didn't choose the right choice. Because once submitted, you can't go back. So you can go back, recheck and make your choice, then continue. Once submitted, you can't go back. So we click on submitted. And this page, a thank you page and a confirmation code page showing you that your vote has been registered. After this, you will also get an SMS or an email telling you that your vote has been registered. Thank you. So I'm open to questions. I can answer the ones that I can, and the ones that I cannot will be forwarded to a higher authority. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Fina. Now, can you show us what the voting ballot will look like on the day with the names of candidates, real candidates now, and the other one has dummy?
So this is what the actual ballots will look like. The pictures and the name are there too. Sorry. So this is for the president. Please, can I go ahead?
Read out the names, so because it may be a bit far from people sitting here.
Sir, sorry.
Read out the names.
Okay, the names. Mazi Afam Joshua Osigwe San. That's the first name on the list with his picture. Then the second we have Chukuka Nwabeze Iwo Azon San.
Ikwazom.
Yeah, then the next we have Mr. Tobenna Chibo Orujikwe.
Erojikwe. May there no mother. May there no mother your name. Sorry? Can we have a full screen so that they can see their picture as well? Although if you go on the Zoom, you will see it's probably clearer. Okay. Now we have an enlarged view. All right. Josiah is not Joshua. I think it's Josiah. Look at it. Let's scroll like this. This looks bigger than the slideshow version. Aha. This is better. Aha. So we can see if there are any spelling issues. Go on, scroll down. Continue.
So we have for the first vice president. Please let me know when I should go on.
Continue. I think they can see themselves.
This is for the second vice president.
Yes.
Then the third vice president.
Yes.
General secretary.
Yes.
Assistant general secretary.
Yes.
Treasurer.
Yes.
Welfare secretary.
Yes.
Publicity secretary.
There's one more.
Yeah, one more under.
Okay. Yes.
So assistant publicity secretary.
Okay.
MBA representative to the General Council of Bar, Eastern Zone.
Okay.
Northern Zone.
Okay.
Just a single candidate. Western Zone.
Okay.
think that should be all, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Fina.
Thank you, sir.
Well, this is the ballot. Yeah, it's not like we would have said this is the ballot paper now, but no be paper. So this is the ballot screen. And I remember at the last stakeholders meeting, one of the candidates was one that suggested that previously it's only names that show, and preferred that we should add pictures, and that's why we have pictures. So that helps the voters even more. Now, the voting platform had been subjected to various vulnerability assessments. Oh, you have a question? Okay. Yes. Microphone, please. Put it on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and other members of the Ecnba. My name is Osage Owaikena. I'm a candidate for the Office of Welfare Secretary. When I submitted my form, I saw a space to feel how I should be referred to. And specifically, I said Owaikena Osage. But today, I'm seeing that I'm being referred to as Mr. Aigbokai Owaikena Osage. I deliberately omitted that because it was specific. Actually, I'm not Mr. I'm a sir. So I could have used my title as a sir, but I said I want to be referred to as Owaikena Osage. And it's there in my form, sir.
Okay, so Fina, make a note of the entry for. You say he doesn't want to be. You say I shouldn't call you Mister now, so.
No, sir. It's Owaikena Osage.
Owaikena
Osage, sir.
Osage.
Yes, sir.
Instead of Aigbokai Owaikena Osage, remove Aigbokai so that his name is Owaikena Osage.
Yes, sir.
Right? So we will correct that. That's it. We will correct that.
I'm grateful, sir.
Once, but please take a note of that. Yes.
Chairman, let me observe all protocols. My name is William Susiprie. I have the same complaint with my friend Osage, but I just looked at my form now on my phone. In the format we were asked to fill, the way we want our name to reflect it, I stated Williams Susiprie. But now what I saw there is Mr. Susiprie Williams. Please, I need Williams, Mr. Williams Susiprie.
So, candidate for first vice president.
First vice president, yes.
Candidate for first vice president. Instead of Susiprie Williams, it should read Williams Susiprie. So,
Thank you.
we'll amend that. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Sheiji Aroshebe.
Yes.
My name is Sheiji Aroshebe, speaking for Charles Ajiboye,
Yes.
candidate for PopSec of the NBA. So I'm also aware that when you fill the form, you wanted to be referred to as Ajiboye Charles Olawale. I'm very much aware that was what he filled and what he wanted to be referred to as Ajiboye Charles Olawale.
Wait, just a minute. There is a format in which names are written, as you have heard, first name, surname. We can't say somebody has surname, first name, another person has surname, first name. There must be a regularity in terms of uniformity of the format. So if the issue is as to whether Charles comes before Ajiboye, or you now want Ajiboye to come before Charles, I don't think what we have done, as you have seen, is first name for those who have middle names and then surname. But we're not putting surname ahead of first name. You get?
Noted, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I have two issues. First is that I want my name to appear Sebastian Ayer. the middle name, Ubwa, don't need to, should be removed. That's how I filled my form.
Sebastian.
Anye.
Okay, so
that
candidate for first
vice president.
president. Sebastian, it says Sebastian
Anye.
Anyo.
Anye, just the
Anya.
middle name.
Remove the middle name.
Ubwa, yes. Then
Remove the middle name. Let it remain Sebastian Anya. Yes.
The second intervention
Yes.
is from her report. I don't know, after voting, whether it is possible to stay in the comfort of your office, of your house, or anywhere to monitor the results.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you did mention it, and I want to.
The email you will get confirming you have voted will also tell you you can follow the vote count at go.ecmba.org. So wherever you are, you can follow the vote count on go.ecmba.org. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Leonard Chairman. I actually got carried away with the beauty of the design. I never looked at the detail of the names. I want to be sure my name is written Michael Oladewaju Olorumola.
You didn't see your you didn't see your name. Okay. Fina.
So please, if it's possible,
can you put up?
I will be happy if I can look at it again.
So that
Thank you very much.
so that I can see his name. Candidate for
Thank you.
third
Please,
vice.
a repeat.
We'll come to those online too. We will take the comments from those online.
Thank you very much.
But pull it up, put up the
third vice president.
Scroll to third vice president. He wants to see his handsome face. Yep. Yes. Third vice.
Yes, it's excellent. It's excellent.
Chen, are you?
Yes, very collection.
No, be me.
Thank you.
Yes. That's treasurer, right?
Yes, Caroline Obi.
Treasurer. Scroll to treasurer. Is it you?
Thank you, Malenati.
Yes, we have we have someone online who wants to speak. I think it's Dr. Gerald Abonyi. Can you give him or mute Gerald Abonyi to speak?
Mr. Chairman, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, sir, members of ECMBA.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for allowing me to participate in this program because I have been largely denied participation. I believe it is an interactive session. When you come in, the essence of technology here is that it is as if you are here, you are there in person. So from beginning, I joined in, and then interacting with the ECMBA became very difficult. It was so painful, and that was what happened yesterday when some of us clicked online. The hosts, the moderators, Lady Sholaye, found it very difficult to look at the team handling the online program because there was no communication among them. For us to come in and take our 3 minutes turn was a little bit not well mapped out. It is unfortunate, and we are being technologically driven. We are going towards this technology. But be that as it may, sir, it is good again to be here today. I am a candidate for the office of the first vice president of the MBA, and hopefully I am the
Now, your technology has failed on your end now. Dr. Abonyi, you are frozen. Okay. You are frozen, Dr. Abonyi, if you can hear me. And that's your bandwidth from your end. It's gone. Well, when he rejoins, we'll take him. And that's really what he suffered, according to him yesterday. It was not out of any.
I'm right here, sir. I'm right here, sir. I'm right here, sir.
Dr.
I'm right here,
Aboyi,
sir.
go on. Go on.
Thank you, sir. In fact, this is like a witchcraft. It was a call that came in that was trying to upset me. Sir, I'm grateful, sir. Sir, so what I'm saying is that we are going towards technology and all online stuffs, the technology here should be encouraged. I'm even very surprised. I was present at the first interactive session that was held by the ECMBA with candidates here in the MBA house. In fact, I was the only contestant who came for that occasion, and that taught me a wrong lesson that's online.
We can't hear you. Is he muted again? Dr. Aboyi, we can't hear you. We can see you. Just wait, hold on, and check if you are muted because we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, sir. Now, about this mute and unmute, there's always a message coming here that the host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves.
Mr. Aboyi.
So,
Mr.
yes, sir.
Aboyi.
So, my lord, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Just
sir.
go on to the issue at hand.
Very well, sir. Sir, I have not seen my picture very well on the candidates as listed, sir. I was hoping to
see your picture.
See my face there among the people.
Okay. If it's picture, we will show you again. Is first vice president, Dr. Gerald Aboyi. Can you see yourself? You are number 3. Please unmute him to confirm he can see himself. Do you see it now?
I can see, sir.
Yeah, okay.
I can see, sir. I'm very okay, sir. I'm
Good.
very okay, sir. So, please, sir, I am very grateful at the painstaking time you have taken with your committee. It is very satisfactory. Grateful, sir. I am.
Thank you very much. So all of us have seen ourselves. Okay. Now, I was going to go on to also tell us that we have indeed carried out a vulnerability test on this site. The outcome of the test has the following classification of risk. It was classified into 5: critical, high, medium, low, no info. Critical, there are no critical risk findings. High, there are no high findings. Medium, there were 3 findings. And low, there were 2 findings. Remedial recommendations have been made in respect of the findings to the providers, and they have issued a warranty of fitness pursuant to those efforts in terms of certifying the site fit for purpose. In the field of cybersecurity and cybernetics, if you want to call it that, these are the various assessments you do. They always say that there is no 100% foolproof digital platform. But what you have is you have certified or satisfied what should ensure the safety and security of data and whatever process the system is carrying at any point in time. And we have received that warranty from the provider, which obviously is actionable by virtue of that warranty. And so we're obliged to announce that to you. Now, I see a question from someone in the chat room. Okay, I think it's from Bridget. Will candidates or their agents be allowed to see the back end of the voting portal in real time? I don't think you'll find that as a security safe option. It's like me asking whether I will be allowed to see the back end of our military base. You get what I mean? By the exposure of that back end, you have created a vulnerability. By exposing it to any third party, you have already created a vulnerability. So I don't think that will be something that you or anyone else outside of the operators would. We don't see the back end of our financial services app that we use to transfer money. We only operate it. So we can't say, okay, after every day's or every month's transaction, let me see the back end to be sure that you didn't take more than you're supposed to take. So it's the same principle that applies to this. Yes, sir.
My name remains Bartholomew Agwebodo, candidate for the first vice president. Just like Mr. Chairman just pointed out that there will be no access to back end during the voting. I am of the view that there will be need where it demands that the back end be inspected by agents before the announcement of results. We had such challenges in the last election where there were glitches during the election that created uproar. I remember Steve Son raising so much dust over that when glitches occurred twice in the course of voting, he raised a question on inspection of back end. He was denied, and he was told at the end of voting he will be entitled, but before he could even be given access to that, which was not even given to him after the result was announced, and the result has already been announced. So I will seek clarification to come in that end as to whether there will be an opportunity for the agents to see the back end on the completion of voting before the announcement of results. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There is also another question from Bridget, which seems to tie into what you have asked. She says, will the names of specific voters and who they voted for be displayed at the back end or the monitoring screen of the voting portal? That itself is a breach. Why should I display who somebody voted for? That's private to that voter. We will see it. If we want to see it, we can see it. But I don't think that is an information that I should tell you, so that, because somebody may be blackmailed because of it. I don't think that will be a problem. That's one of the challenges of the back end you're talking about, because those are the things you're asking to see at the back end. You want to see how the votes came in, and what you'll be seeing there will be who voted. You understand? That's what you'll be seeing, who voted and for whom they voted for. What we are going to do, and that's the reason why you will notice when Fina was presenting, the confirmation that you are going to get after you have voted comes also with a code, which is equally as unique as the code that you got when you were pre-voting. That code is also unique to you. That's what allows us to audit each person's. So if somebody comes and says, hey, this happened, that happened, give us the names. We will trace it. we will see the code of the person that voted or didn't vote, or that voted. If somebody say I voted, my vote didn't count, we will know whether the pre-voting link you got led to a post-voting code. If it didn't go to a post-voting code, then obviously you didn't vote. And if it went to a post-voting code, we will see it and the time that you voted. All of that we can see by the audit trail. And those are the things we have set up. So when you are talking of back end, it's not as if it's a screen like this. Sometimes we get the impression that that back end is just one pictorial thing that we just scroll down. No, it's not like that. It's going to be in digits and interpreted figures. But based on those codes, we can actually trace it. And we're also going to have a post-election audit report that we are going to push out. So all of that will be made plain, made clear. Don't forget we're talking of 72,000. So even if you say you want to scroll, are you going to scroll 72,000 times? You know, and all of that. But more importantly than that is the security of not just the system, the process, but also the individual voter's privacy. You can't have access to who I voted for. It's my choice as to who I voted for. Yes. Sorry, there's somebody.
With due respect to Mr. Chairman.
Your name now.
My name is Umar Bello Magaji. Mr. Chairman, most of the aspirants have actually made their point, but it still boils down to we the voters, we the lawyers, you know. An innocent lawyer would just go and just cast his vote and sit back and observe. So what assurance do we have that our vote counts or will count? And at the same time, what security measures have you taken to make sure that you know, we talk about cyber security now, you know, and all those things, so that every voter will be assured that his or her vote counts and we don't have any purification, and we know that, yes, any result that comes out, this is the result of.
Okay, thank you very much. If you heard me when I was talking about the vulnerability assessment, you will see that I had already given that. I'd also gone ahead to speak to the fact that post-assessment, we have the certification to the effects from the provider to the warranty of fitness for that portal, which is actionable as you are a lawyer. And so to the extent to which you can be humanly satisfied that we have, as much as possible, tried to leave no stone unturned, we can assure you. The same way I cannot assure you that if you enter vehicle at Baja to drive to Lagos, that you will arrive. But we are praying that we will arrive. You understand? What warranty will I give you that you will arrive? Other than to say we trust God. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not to say that we have not done what ought to have been done, but to let you understand that the rest is for us to believe the process with respect to what has been put down for us to follow. And indeed, we're going to have a situation room. We're going to have a leader dashboard that will be visible to voters. And that reminds me of the point, I don't think I had mentioned it. We'll require all candidates to send to us by email the names of 2 representatives, 2 agents, 2 people that will be their representatives in the situation room on the day of election. We need their names so that we can properly tag them. So please send that to us. An email will go out today to candidates, so please, Secretary will note that. An email will go out today to all candidates to that effect, to send us names of 2 persons who will be the agents in the situation room. The candidates too are welcomed. If they want to come into the situation room, they are also welcome. But in case you are a resident outside of Abuja and you won't be in the situation room, we can always have your agents there real time for the entire period of the process. Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, members of the ECMBA. I might be taking this a bit out of turn because I'm about to dash out. But the issue on the electoral register, and its publication is of concern to me. My worry is that if we don't have an electoral list that shows members and the branches they belong to, we wouldn't be able to assess the people that are in it and know whether they actually belong to the branches. I think it's an information we should have without necessarily disclosing phone numbers or emails or further information that would disclose or aid to invade the privacy of the voters. Thank you.
What you're saying is that you want the names of voters and the branches. Well, as I'd mentioned to a number of you, yourself included, in the course of engagement, we were also caught in between how do we present the electoral list, mindful of the fact that a few years ago, we didn't have this Data Privacy Act, which now puts mandatoriness to holders of data as to what they do and how they guard it. And so we had to find a wisdom that makes us comply with the Data Privacy Act as well as our Constitution by the manner in which we have published the voters list, which makes it possible for you, the owner of the data, to see your data. But we could not expose other people's data to you. That's why if you put in your SCN, you only see yours. If they put in theirs, they only see theirs. Except you know somebody's SCN, you can put it in, you will see only his or hers. You won't see others. But if you say that you still want to see is a list of names, you said name and branches of all voters, I'm wondering in what form that will be. That's one. Yes, let me first hear from him. I'll come back to you.
Mr. Chairman, even at the branch elections, that same provision was complied with severally. I do not think there is a breach of the data protection law where somebody's name is published as belonging to a branch. There are certain consents that are implied by belonging to certain associations. It's like saying that the NBA cannot publish a name of its members. It is a breach of a data protection.
No, that's not what I meant.
The mischief, the provision in our constitution made that rule for, is for aspirants and voters to identify ghost voters if they are on the list. For instance, if my branch in Ikeja is having 5,000 members, for example, and there are names there that could not correlate with what we have in the branch, we are not bound to point it out that we do not have so names. That is the mischief. That provision itself in the Constitution came to cure. So if we do not have it, we are defeating the purpose of that particular section in the Constitution of the NBA. Because all branches held their elections. And in all branches, the electoral lists were displayed either on their board or on their WhatsApp or on their own website. If Mr. Chairman will not publish individually, we have an NBA website which was created for the same purpose. List of eligible voters could be published there without offending the Data Protection Act.
Okay. What we'll then probably look at is a directory. We'll look at it as a directory as opposed to being a voter list, because the voter list, for what it is, ordinarily would have to include the credentials by which you are to qualify to vote, which would have been SCN, phone number, email. That's what makes it a valid voters list. Without that, it is not so much. In the days you speak of, as it operates at the branches, it's not electronic voting at the branches. So we only need name and branch. At that level, you don't need more than that information. But just a minute. But for the purpose of an electronic voting, if we're to put out merely that and call it a voters list, you will also have members, candidates come to us and say, are we sure the number this person is going to use is his number? Are we sure you get what I mean? Because they would not have had the opportunity to do that. I'm just explaining to you why the voters list is in the format it is. But if you, on top of that, say that it will be desirable to still have a directory that shows name and branches, we will look into that and see how we can quickly scrub off the SCN, scrub off email, scrub off phone number, and well, we won't take down what we have. It will have to be a separate icon, which we'll probably call directory or something, whatever it is. At least for that sense, is that a consensus of everybody? So that we can at least allay your concerns on that. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Okay. You want to? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for that indulgence. I think it's a big issue, and if we're able to resolve it this way, fantastic. People can go in and verify their details or know their own private information, but name and branch, because it's also important to know how many people are voting from each branch. And, you know, when I make some of the, I raise some of the concerns that I raised, it was because of my involvement in some of the issues that have led to the provisions of the Constitution that have to do with the electoral reform. When Mr. Lubata and Dela Adesina and Dr. Tunda Jebedisan were contesting an election, the ECMBA released a voter registration list. It created a chaos. That election was almost truncated that night because certain people, there was a mix-up. Somebody in Lagos branch was said to be in Aba branch. There was some carelessness to it. So I think that because the involvement of the branches have now been removed completely from the process, the idea was that on the 1st of April, all the people who paid their BPF will be known, and those are the people who are eligible to vote. So all we want to know is that these are the people who are eligible to vote. No privacy information, we're okay. Just name and branch, it's a matter of public record. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we will see what we can do on that in the next few days and put it up as a directory, name and branch. But for the benefit of my brother, I can't even boast. I've been a member of Ibadan branch for going to 32 years. I cannot boast of knowing everybody in Ibadan branch because there are those that would never show up at a meeting, but they are paying in their backyard. So if you see such a name, I cannot say this person is not a member of my branch because there's just no way we can know. In fact, I'm amazed sometimes when I see some people, even physically at the meeting, and say, hey, when did this one come? You know, just to disabuse your mind. So we'll work at it, and you can be sure that as you know, we've always worked on the premise of utmost transparency. There's absolutely nothing that is desirable as a piece of information to be put out there that we will not put out there. So that takes me back to the 3 issues that we packed. Okay, Mr. Anya.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, sir, I will take you back a little. When you were narrating the list, the names, and where you have some issues, and you call about some new lawyers who are not having the Roman numbers, and they have paid their practicing fee. My worry is that these people, can they strictly speaking be called lawyers, called to bar? Because before you can be said to be a lawyer called to bar, you've been called and given your call to bar certificate. If maybe they have some issues and not be given a certificate, and when I'm paid for practicing fee, can they participate in the elections? I'm just worried. I don't know. I feel that this area disturbed me a little. I say I need clarification, sir.
Those are the 3 areas we packed. 1, we said duplicated phone numbers. We had proposed we are blacklisting. Duplicated emails, we are blacklisting. Duplicated SCNs of 20, we have resolved 12. We have only received information about 8 from Supreme Court this week. We will still have to communicate this to the individuals. And one of the things we will have to do is somebody who thinks his SCN is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what he has used. That's what has been on his stamp. That's what has been used. He's only known to that, but oblivious of the fact that another person is using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 somewhere else. Suddenly now we have resolved it. Supreme Court. Supreme Court now says your own will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6A. You know where you are in your own location, you are oblivious of that fact. You know, even the present stamp or seal that you are using still probably has what you have always known. So a lot will have to change in that individual's data. We will have to formally write the MBA. MBA would have to go into the portal where you paid your BPF and correct it there. So even if we say we want to correct it on the database, add the A to it. And that is what the individual will use to vote. It will be a problem if we don't correct it on the database, because if you put A and punches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6A, it will not show. You get what I mean? Because it's not, we don't have it yet on the database, except we change it. You know. So, but before we change it, we must get all these other validations in place. We must be able to talk to the individual, and some of them will call, they start telling you stories. Who are you? This. We don't have that time anymore now. What we are doing, we are doing them a favor. Really, what we should do is just blacklist everybody. If you have a duplicated SN, we just blacklist. So we're actually going the extra mile. That I personally went to the Supreme Court, met with the head of enrollment on this before we could get it. So we will see how that goes for the 8. If we're able to get the validations, then we will correct the SCNs and notify them accordingly. For the ones you mentioned, which I had announced had EXM on unknown appellations, and like I said, we, from what we found out from Supreme Court, doubt whether they have been enrolled, since they are said to be fresh graduates, and many of them are still processing their qualifying certificates, which they will use to enroll. So if you have an EXM SCN number, what we are proposing to do is to blacklist them. There are not many, there are just about 12. Well, what we are proposing is to blacklist, because EXM is, from what we found out, examination number, not enrollment number. So even though you have passed your qualifying exam, but until you are enrolled, that's when you become, even though you paid BRAPAXing fee. If you enroll later in the year, you won't need to pay another. You only go into your portal and change your EXM to the appropriate SCN, which you would have received by then. So that's what we propose to do with respect to that. So in respect of all the flagged, yes, okay, yes.
Mine is just a question that, like the names they are asking you to publish, when we want to vote, with the branch you belong to, or maybe some people, you know, they have changed branch, like our past MBA president, who is now from Lagos, is now registered in Edo, you know. So I don't know whether I'm sure he must have paid his practicing fee in Lagos before changing to Edo. So if his name appeared as a member of Lagos branch and has not done anything to change it, will it invalidate his voting as a Lagos member? because all this publishing of names that somebody will belong to Lagos and his name will be reflecting another branch, will it affect the person being able to vote? Because what I've seen in what you posted is that you just have the name, you have the Supreme Court number, which I think are more valid than whether you belong to a branch. Yesterday, we saw a lady yesterday, and we were talking to her, and she said she used to be a member, that she belongs to two branches. But it's only one branch that will be recorded against her, because she said she was at the beginning in a particular branch. Now she has changed to another branch because of relocation. So I don't know how that can be any problem, because your Supreme Court number will just be one. So I don't think that publishing the names of members and their branches will have any...
And you are very correct. Publishing the name and branches actually offers no benefits to anybody. That's why I said it is not the voting data, it's not the voting criteria. You are not going to see branch on the ballot before you cast it. Neither is your vote going to be counted based on branch. You know, so it's really got absolutely zero value. But because we are familiar with a long list of scrolling through name and branches, I guess we still want to see that long list, you know, but really it does not qualify as a voters list if that's what we had published originally as our voters list. If we had just published name, it would not have qualified under the rules of our voting system as a valid voters list. And that's why I struggled as to what to call it. Because I can't call it voters list because it's not voters list. That's why I said maybe we can bring it out and call it a directory of some sort, at least for those who still want it. But as you said, your branch, even if you're in Benin, Edo, any branch is irrelevant. You will vote as a member of the legal profession with an SCN number. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I sincerely associate myself with the submission of my sister, because I think that the important thing here is the enrollment number. And if we begin to drag back to go and start publishing this again, that and that, knowing the time is now, in less than 1 week is election, I don't see what it will add to this. For me, what people have done, it's okay for us to work on it for our elections. Ask you to go back and then publish, say from this branch, from this branch. It adds nothing. And it's not going to affect the credibility of the elections. Rather, people who have changed to different branch begin to cause another problem. No, I'm no more in this branch, my name here, change me to this, that and that. I'm going to delay us the more. I think it's unnecessary. That's my
another issue now. And Mr. Erojikwe has left. Who raised it? Yes. Please.
I could join in that. Mr. Chairman, I don't know, the absence of Erojikwe does not take anything away from the resolution reached. We are all stakeholders. If the position is that the disadvantages outweigh the advantages, we are all in a level playing field. Our concern why it was raised was that the 2021 amendment in Port Harcourt, it was this same issue that made us resist that amendment of creating members in diaspora. I remembered very, very well that I was the lead opposition in the AGM in Port Harcourt, where there was an attempt to amend the constitution to keep a register at the National Secretariat for members in diaspora. And we raised an objection at that AGM that there will be need for us to be able to identify, attach them to the branches. I may not know everybody in my branch, being a past chairman of MBA Ikeja, but on our website is a list of all registered members of MBA Ikeja. If there is a name that appears under Ikeja that I suspect is not an Ikeja member, I do not need to bring it to the chairman. For instance, if I put your name into our database, it will fly up that you are from Lagos branch. Most branches have that. But a case where your name is filled into your database and it doesn't fit into any branch raises a question, because in 2021, the argument at the AGM in Port Harcourt was the issue of whether a register will be created for members who pay who are of value and interest to the MBA but do not belong to any branch. And we raised it at the AGM. Some of us are here. And because I led the argument in opposition to that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Our contention at that point was that, as noble as that idea is to draw our human resource persons into MBA, that it will be a challenge during voting. Because we may have a register of 2,000 or 3,000 of members in diaspora. If they have paid their practice fee and their branch dues are meant to be paid to national, we at the branch level do not have a control over that, and we do not know. So if the thing is to balance both, if publishing it at this time will create so much crisis because we are 8 days to election, then we can let it be, rather than raise a credibility question that will mar the entire election. But as to the purpose why it was raised from the beginning, is to even add credibility to the list published. But the timing may be very, very questionable, because if there are objections, it will create a problem for the ECMBA to begin to adjust the voters register 8 days to the election, which will be extremely difficult. So we have to balance both and make an informed opinion. The fact that my brother Tobeni Rejekwe is no longer here, in the notice to be issued, some of us are in the same locality with him who communicate the position of this stakeholders meeting. In my place, it is said that the animals held the meeting to go and decide the animal to be used for a sacrifice. And the cock said, go ahead, whatever is said, I am bound by it. And it was said that the cock will be used for common sacrifice. And it held sway that the cock is used for common sacrifice today. And is bound. So if you are a stakeholder meeting is called, and for any reason you are not there, you give me a tacit consent that whatever is agreed finally there is bound on you. Okay. I think I submit there.
Thank you very much. To be frank, it's impracticable to have paid your bar practicing fee without being a member of a branch, because it is part of the mandatory required fields that you would have had to fill at the time of enrollment on the portal. You would have had to put a branch there. And so that is the same, because we didn't enter people's branches. We simply downloaded what was on the portal as at 31st March. And that's what we've been filtering and cleaning up. So what was entered there was basically what was transmitted. So if there was no branch there, even if you see somebody and say, this person is not Lagos branch, I can't change it either, because that was what was entered there. You get what I mean? I wasn't there when the person, filled that field. Yes. Yes.
If somebody paid practicing fee without paying branch dues, will the person still be eligible to vote?
Well, it used to be the position before the last amendment, because it created its own problems. Because that meant you cannot validate the data from the BPF portal. You would have to await the data from 130 branches, and then issues arose. And I think that was 2018 or so, and it became an issue. So the constitutional amendment only makes bar practicing fee the requirement for you to vote. To be voted for, you needed that as candidates. But for me to vote as a voter, it's only bar practicing fees. That leveled the playing field. Do we have any questions online? Okay, Fina, I think one of the candidates said he came in late into the room. Henry Barnabas Ehi is a candidate for Assistant General Secretary. He also wants to see his face, so show him online. So Barnabas, I hope you see your face. So I take it that we agreed that we don't need to publish any further directory in the circumstance. Very well. Please communicate that to Mr. Tobin as well.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I just want to inform them. Maybe should I go through the ballot again so that they will take note of the name correction so that it will be sent to you for approval before being sent to us?
You have corrected the names?
No. So that they will look at it once again. Those that have corrections.
Those that have corrections I've mentioned.
No. Let it be officially sent to you, sir.
From them?
Yes, sir.
We don't have that luxury of time because as they leave now, they are going back to base. And it's not significant. It's not spelling mistake. Williams, Sosipriye, instead of Sosipriye, Williams. Somersault the name. Aigbokena, Aigbokai, or Hakena, or Sagi. Delete Aigokai from his, and Mr. from his name. Leave it as it is. Sebastian. Omu Ayua, remove the middle name. And that's it. So what you do is effect it, and then we will approve it based on this resolution we have made.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so Umbamala, treasurer, wants to see his face too. Yeah. Now you, I mean, not me. Okay, so I think in all, you don't want Aloysius. Okay, so note that he wants Aloysius removed. Fina, have you taken note of that too? Okay. Okay, so any other business? Yes.
The issue of agents. How many agents are candidates required to?
Two.
Two
agents.
Okay. Just for clarity.
Yeah. 2 agents.
I want to know whether it's one or two.
You want more? You can send one. You just can't send three. You can't send three, but you can send one. It's not compulsory.
2 is okay.
It's not compulsory. You have to send 2.
They are entitled to vote, of course.
1 is fine, and you can be here yourself.
He's asking if the agent will be entitled to vote. I said yes.
They would have received, if he qualifies as an eligible, of course.
Is it not on his phone?
Of course.
That will be all.
Please, can we be unmuted to enable us to talk?
Who's that?
My name is Dr. Gerald Aboisa.
Gerald Aboy.
Yes,
you have, obviously, for me to hear you, you have been unmuted.
Thank you so much, sir. And sir, the challenge is about this online participation must be addressed. If we don't take part 3 times, honestly speaking, there's no point in online participation.
That was why I asked the question, any further question? which you are now
Very well, sir.
participating. So go
Sir,
ahead.
I am strongly opposing the amendment of names at this stage.
The
They
appointment.
cannot.
Wait.
I am strongly opposing the amendment of names. This is my reason. Just one, that the identity have been left alone all along until this last minute. That there is an intention, to mislead. There is a strong intention to mislead. The names have remained static all the while. Prior to today, there has been no complaints. Except now that they are realizing that. Now I will give you the reason why they are realizing that, sir. Now, EBF, Eastern Bar Forum, went and had a resolution. They went and had a resolution which most of the members denied that there was no such resolution. And presently, there is a problem with EBF. And I can assure you, sir, that the names of both the candidates from the Eastern region are in close semblance, but there are little differences. And those differences, they are now trying to obliterate because it now matters. That is the point I'm raising. So if those names are going to be changed, it ought to have been done long before now. They cannot pretend to be what they are not. It must be bluntly put that way. They have gone to reap a benefit that is against the Constitution, sir.
All right.
And they are now coming to change their names.
Thank you. We have heard you.
It will hardship on us.
We have heard you.
Yes, sir.
We have heard you. So your issue is that you're objecting to any adjustments to people's names.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On the ballot.
Yes, on the ballot, sir.
All right. There are other comments here. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Pius Idemudia Oewo, candidate for second vice president. I do not think that it is appropriate for candidates at this stage, sincerely with the greatest respect, I may not have been affected by these amendments that is being proposed by the candidates who have made application to have their names changed or amended. But I think what should guide us is our names as enrolled at the Supreme Court. Except for those, the women who have changed names through deed poll and the rest of them. I think with the greatest respect that it is the names as contained in the enrollment, because we were asked to submit our call to bar certificates at the point of submission of nomination forms. And those names were also, in addition, also tallied with the receipts. I mean, the bar practicing fee receipts and the rest of them. So at this point, it will appear that the committee, with the greatest respect, is allowing candidates to have a field day to begin to change and then alter and then do, because you decided to be liberal. It does not really kind of augur well. The names as contained in the call to bar certificate submitted, for which we all came in on that day to have the envelopes opened and then to tally and then to see whether they tally with the names as contained in the bar practicing fee and the rest of them, is what should matter.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chairman, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Promise Uwezo, a candidate for the first vice. I want to align myself with Dr. Abouye and the last speaker. Chairman, if we start doing amendment on the name we submitted on our form, it's not the same person. We filled in a form, and all the issues were clear before the form. And that is what he has published here. If you continue amendment, if I go home and ask my wife will tell me to remove the Uwezo. I will write to you, remove it. Those 40 names we fill in our form need not to be amended at this stage. Election process, there is an election process. And once we pass that stage, we don't need to go back. For us to change that name now, Chairman, we'll be shooting ourselves. It's not
All
the
right,
best.
that
Thank
is
you.
noted. Are you saying the same thing?
Yes.
Otherwise, I will attack Bishop.
Wait, Bishop no be name, not title.
Rules were set at the beginning of this concert, Mr. Chairman. And I remembered vividly that on the form we submitted, we were told that upon close of nomination, there will be no alteration. The first speaker's case is different from the amendment being proposed by others. And that is the point Jared Abon is trying to make. If on the form submitted, in the wisdom of the ECMBA, it was stated, put your name the way you want it appeared, and you have filled that name in that portion the way you want it to be appeared, it becomes presumptuous at this point in time for you to say, remove this name or put this one first. I think what should guide this committee should be the rules set that when you submitted your nomination form, there is a column. State your name the way you want it to appear. If on that, the call to buy is immaterial. When that provision was made in the form, it was made for a purpose. Saying state your name the way you want it on the ballot. It was expressly stated there. For me, it doesn't matter whether the name is 4, 5, or 6. All this to and fro doesn't make sense. Somebody who knows you as Sebastian Anya, or somebody who knows you as Mbamale Chukwemeka, whether the name is 3, there's no 2 Mbamale Chukwemeka, they're creating confusion. So we do not begin to give the ECMBA work where there is no work. The idea of my name comes first or comes second is superfluous. The names as presented in the form, in the column, where ECMBA says, put your name the way you want it on the ballot. The way they want it there can be no amendment after close of nomination. I submit.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, sir, let me just respond a little.
Yes.
I think that my learned friends seem to miss the point. The last speaker tried to get the point, but he mixed it up again. In the form, after filling your name, the column there, fill the way you want it to be called. There's a column there.
You are saying the same thing.
Yes. In that place, I feel Sebastian Anya. I did prove there.
Anyway.
And that is the same thing Lord William is saying, that in that form, after filling his name, how you want to be called, he feel like this. So the people saying that they try to change, it's not correct.
Okay, so let's leave it. We don't need too much argument.
You should know what is there.
Since we have a reference document,
yes, let's look at the document.
We will align with what is in the document. You have something to say?
Mr. Chairman, before I comment, let me tender Exhibit A. Yes. See.
What?
This is my form.
We have it.
Yes. I filled my form in that format where you said we should fill it the way we want it. It's Williams Sosiprie. I know that all this operation you are seeing here is targeted at me, but I don't care. That's why I brought this exhibit. Williams Sosiprie is what is on my form.
We don't have a problem with what is on the form. So once it is what is on the form, we will go back to it and sort it out. Fina, no amendments until we have certified it as it is on the form. Okay? Yes.
So I want to know, with due respect, if the constitution of MBA as regard zoning is not strictly adhered to by its MBA. Because, I ask this question because I know that there are zoning in ECMBA constitution, and there are also micro zoning. Can I finish my question, please? Don't distract me. And I would also macro zoning therein. And in a situation where a set of people decide to go against the zoning, whether ECMBA do not have power to sanction those people. That's my question, sir.
I think we have passed that stage. The issue of zoning in the Constitution and what flows with it, those issues are relevant to screening of your nominations. And whatever decisions were taken that brought all of you to this point, it means that all of those issues must have been taken into consideration and ruled upon. So that's, it's not something we will reopen now under any guise. Okay. In the absence of any other...
Yes, sir. Dr. General is my name, sir.
Just before you say anything, I see Ike Augustine on the online is a candidate for General Counsel of the Bar. So who's this guy? Is a candidate for General Counsel of the Bar, and he's not asking anything. He just said Ike Augustine is online. Yes, we see you now. We know you are online. I thought maybe he was asking for something. Okay, the rest are comments. Yes, Dr. Gerald, what do you want to say in addition?
Actually, I raised my hands immediately. My learned friend and the co-contestant was trying to draw this very August sitting back to pre-election matters.
We have
So
already answered that. Don't let's reopen that. We have already dealt with that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, sir, just to remind you that you had proposed earlier about the new wigs, whether they should be allowed to vote since they don't have enrollment number. I don't think we've dealt with that.
I think we have. We already said that with EXM, they cannot.
Okay. Grateful, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so all I think is left is for us to thank you for your time and for walking through this process with us for the last 6-7 months. That has brought us to this climax, and it's our prayer and expectation that we would have a successful landing that would bring out the new officers of the MBA and representatives of the MBA on the General Council of the Bar. And so I want to thank you for your time, for everything that has gone into this process. And I can only wish you well, all of you, in your contest and at the elections proper. And likewise to our colleagues online, I thank you for being a part, and I wish you the same success at the polls for all of you. And MBA is the one that will be the winner in the end. Thank you very much.